programs. I'm glad you're here to listen to wonderful program coming to you. And please don't forget to subscribe or give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Yeah, welcome to KJTV, and today we have a topic about morality of Israel-Palestinian conflict. It has sparked different opinions from different people, depending who you are talking to. Now, we have the war which started between Hamas and Israel. After the attack on Israel by Hamas attackers, and Israel is revenging, and they have killed so many Palestinians. Is it morally right? Is it justified to do that? And in the studio, we have various political analysts. Today we have Dr. Nyachai. Welcome to the studio. And we have Ayako Onyambu. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
And we have Ben Muko. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And besides that, now we have this war which started with the Palestinians. Is it morally right what is happening right now? Dr. Nyachai, what's your take on that?
Thank you again for inviting me to the call and the show. So again, before we even look at the morality of this specific conflict, I think it's important for us to understand the history and background of it, because that will inform you exactly how you can make an informed decision whether it's morally right or wrong. And for those who have taken time to look at the history of these, the Israel-Palestinian conflict actually dates back to many years, maybe hundreds of years. But I think if we can go back to the most recent one, the conflict dates back to the end of the 19th century, in 1947, when the United Nations adopted a resolution 181, which was known as the Partition Plan. And this petition was sought to divide the British mandate of the Palestinian into Arabs and Jews as states. So on May 14th of 1948, the state of Israel was created. And that's the first time there was an Arab-Israel war. And that war lasted for a whole year. And around 750,000 Palestinians were displaced. And at that time, because of that displacement, the state of Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strips were all created at that time. And that's the history, probably the history of the present conflict. And following many years of those, there were tensions between Israel and Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. And now some of you remember the famous 1967 war, when there was a preemptive attack by the Jewish state on so many of those Arab states that are surrounding it. If you go back to the history, you will discover that the Jewish people, or the Israelites, who have been displaced over many years, they have been killed, they have been massacred, and they always fight back. And when they hit back, they also hit back hard. So that history can inform you whether it's morally right to defend yourself. And any human being has a right to defend and has a right to life, whether you are Jewish, whether you are Palestinian. And as the United States puts it, if you hit back hard to an enemy, harder than they should be, then there is that moral compass that you need to balance between defense and hitting back. So the question of whether it's morally right or wrong really is a question that is debatable from either side of the divide.
Okay. Cosmas, what do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone here, and I want to thank Dr. Nyachai for giving us that background. Yeah, a lot of people think that this conflict started with on the 7th when Hamas fighters crossed over and killed innocent Israelis. The conflict actually started many years ago, as Nyachai has aptly put it. As to whether it's morally right or wrong, first of all, what's the meaning of morality? It's the difference between evil and right. What is right and wrong? It's on either side. According to me, what we have observed on TV in the last 2 weeks is not acceptable, whether committed by the Jewish or by the Palestinians. So I think killing innocent people, children and old women, morally is wrong and unacceptable. And I don't care whether it's committed by the Hamas or by the Israelis. So according to me, I don't think there's a debate there. Killing innocent people is morally wrong and unacceptable. And according to the UN statutes, it's wrong to kill civilians, even when there's a war. Even wars have rules. When armies attack each other, the civilians must be protected. So I think both the Hamas and the Jewish army have committed committed crimes for killing innocent people.
So it is. What do you do? What do you say about? I'm sorry, my voice is not. So, do you condemn the Hamas attack on Israel?
I condemn both Hamas and Israel.
And do you condemn the Israel for revenging the
I
attack?
do. I do condemn. You see, to whom much is given, much is expected. Israel is the 11th most powerful country in the world, militarily speaking. Hamas is just a political party in Gaza that is using sometimes very ragtag tactics to attack Israel. So either way, whatever the tactics you use, if you kill innocent civilians, that's a crime. But when we look at the background that Dr. Nyachai has given, why is this happening? Then in my opinion, I think Israel carries a larger responsibility than Hamas to alleviate the situation. Gaza, for those who don't know, is actually an open-air prison. If you put 2.2 million people in a strip of land the size of the Twin Cities and fence them out or blockade them, no water, no electricity, no supplies, what do you expect them to do? You dehumanize them. Once you have dehumanized the human, even a dog, if you in our vernacular we say if you put it in a room, it will eat you alive. So I don't know what the Jewish expect of the Palestinians after fencing them out and dehumanizing them for so many years. The people in Gaza are refugees. Permanent refugees who have been forcibly removed from their land, ancestral land, and put in a very tall apartment. No land, no rights, no voting rights, nothing. They're just prisoners. What do you expect?
Okay, Dr. Nyachai. Oh, sorry, I think you're muted.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you for unmuting me. So like my friend there, Ayaka Bonyampo has mentioned, people when put to a corner, they will hit back because they have no other way of life. Because everybody has a right to life and don't be attacked. And both the Jews and the Palestinians have a right to life and also to not be attacked. But they do have a right to defend themselves when attacked. In the most recent one, if people
Your
just
volume,
look at it,
Dr. Nyachai, is a bit low.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Give me a second here. Hopefully, this will work. Is it working now?
Yeah, it's a bit low, but we can hear you.
Yeah, as I was saying, that everybody has a right to life and a right to defend themselves when attacked. If somebody just takes out the most recent attack, which happened on the October 7th, everybody will say the Jewish people were were attacked, and they had a right to defend themselves. But again, how do you defend yourself? Do you just let go even the collateral damage of children, women, and those who are innocent? Absolutely not. And if you go back to the history of how Hamas came to power, actually they won elections. And you know, the Western world always wants democracy. But when the Hamas, who are designated as terrorists, won an election, they were not officially recognized as an official political party by the Western powers and by the Jews. And I want you to go back to the history and give this analysis of South Africa, where the ANC was designated as a terrorist group for many years until 1994. In fact, until when even Nelson Mandela was visiting the US, he was still on the list of designated people as terrorists. So I think, in my opinion, it's critical that people take a step back, both sides, and go back to the negotiating table. It cannot be that we can have millions of people starving in 100 square mile, 2 million people within a square miles of, I don't know, it's less than 100 square miles. It's very small. And I think we need to relook at it. And we need to go back to 1948, 47, that national, what they call it, United Nations Action Plan 181, and start from there. Because unless we go to the history, this thing is not going to be resolved. Every few years, we'll have flare-ups, and it will be pointing fingers to everybody, like saying, hey, you did this, you did that, you hurt me first. It's like you come to my home, you hit me hard, then I hit you back. Before you know it, everybody will say that, hi, who came last? I'm the bad guy. So it's very critical that they step back and they start following the rules of engagement, especially recognize Hamas as a political party, and Hamas takes back and follows the rules of engagement when it comes to war.
I can't hear what.
Yeah, I think there's an echo there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
yeah, yeah. As he's working on his engagement, I was going to say that the Hamas political party should also recognize and must recognize the right of the Jewish people to live and to defend themselves when attacked. They cannot just simply go in and kill women and children in the use spaces of defending themselves. I know they were attracting the attention of the world to say, hey, here we are, we're in a small square feet, and we have so many of us. Can you come to our aid? It does never justify anybody to kill women and children who are not a military.
Okay. There's something I wanted to say about the history of Israel and Palestine. The Palestinian, that is their land. And if we go by all of the history we have read up from the Bible and the other things, we will see that Israel was a kingdom which, if you can see in that map, that was the United Kingdom of Israel during the time of Saul, during the time of David. That was how it was. And then later on, there was a divided kingdom, Israel and Judah. And as you know from history, Israel was conquered, and all of the 10 tribes disappeared and remained Judah. And later Judah was also conquered and disappeared. So even during the time of Jesus, Judea was a small territory. which was under, it was actually a province of Rome. Now, if all of these, they claim that that place belonged to them. And what we are saying about the history of Palestinian land, in 1946, that same land, you can see in 1946, the Jews were only in a few settlements. So when UN created in 1947 the nation of Israel, that is, the Jews were occupying this land, and the green was occupied by Palestine. 1967, the settlement of Jews had increased where the Palestinian was going slow, and up to the present, you can see that is only the Gaza Strip and some parts of the Western Wall. So, as much as they claim in 1946, Palestinians were occupying the land, but the Jews also say from the time immemorial they have been occupying the land. If you are an arbiter on that case, what will you have to say, Cosmos?
So this it's very nonsensical. Let me tell you something. If you want to use the Bible as the only reference, I will remind you that the Palestinians are cousins and blood brothers of the Jewish people. They come from the loins of Ishmael, who was the son of Abraham. Okay, some of the peace talks that have been done are titled Abrahamic whatever decisions. That is identifying the Palestinians and the Jewish as brothers. So what we are witnessing are just brothers fighting brothers. So, and that map you just showed us, it shows us the areas that Israel, the Jewish people, have currently at this time identified as the area they're interested in. During the time of Jesus, the kingdom of Israel extended into the southern parts of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, and even the Sinai Peninsula. So why is Israel not claiming those areas now? Why are they not claiming it? Because they stayed there. Even when Jesus was walking in Israel, the Palestinians were living there. It's not like they were not there. They were living side by side. What is happening in Israel is called apartheid. The same thing we witnessed just here in South Africa, where a select minority has all the rights, the majority have no rights. That's what is happening in Israel.
Ben, can you unmute? Ben, you are muted.
The Palestinian people are being occupied the same way Black South Africans were and still are being occupied by the Boers of South Africa, the white people. It is the same thing that is happening in the Middle East.
Okay, Ben, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I don't think you can hear me. I have a call, but I will try to communicate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Josh, for letting us to discuss about Israel and Hamas. It is a complicated issue. You know, I will base my argument according to the Bible, as you have just mentioned. The same Ismail you are talking about, Ismail and Isaac. Don't forget what God promised Ismail. He talked about it, my brothers. He said, Ismail, because of the conflict that's come between you and Sarah, I'll let you go, but I'll bless you, and I will create an enmity. There will be always a conflict until Jesus comes back. That's what he said. If you look at the Genesis, that's exactly what is mentioned. And so he was not left unblessed. He was told, I will bless you. You see, those guys are very blessed. If you look at it biblically. And Jewish people, don't forget, they came there by Abraham. And they were told very clearly their mission was the Messiah will be born, and then the Christianity will be created. If we ignore the Bible completely, we will be getting lost. Because there's a time also, I will remind you, all of you, the Israelites were almost Jews. People were eliminated by Hitler. Do you remember that? 6 million people were killed in Europe. Then they came back again. Now, and if you look at them completely, you can be able to agree with me, they are blessed. Wherever they go, they grow. As God, I mean, the covenant that he had with Abraham. He told them, "I'll bless you. Those who curse you, I'll do what? I'll curse you." These are the blessings actually going on. The only problems now, if we come back, what's currently happening, and I talked to my friend this morning. I asked if they know very well Israel is very powerful. Why are they even starting the war? Actually, they are the one who started it. But I'm not saying the Israelites are very bad, because I mean they are right to kill more people. No. What I'm trying to say is this is biblical and it's prophecy. So when we are coming,
Ben, I want you to be cautious, because the people who are listening to you are not Christians. We are having 2-3 religions here. We have Judaism, we have Christianity, and we have Muslim.
yes,
All of them who claim Jerusalem is the holy city. And that's the point of contention, because the Jews believe they are the chosen people, and they are the one Solomon built the temple in Jerusalem, which was destroyed in 70 BC. Even when Christianity became the official religion of Rome, Constantine came and built 3 churches: the Church of Scripture and other things in Jerusalem. So they claim it's an holy place. When the Muslims conquered, actually, they built the Dome of the Rock. So they also believe, they know that Jerusalem is the holy city. All of these religions claim, actually the point of contention here is that they are claiming Jerusalem as the holy city.
yes.
So when you are talking on this context, you are having what we call it the Bible bias. But even if we go to the Bible, the Jews believe in the Old Testament. They don't believe in the New Testament because they are still waiting for the Messiah. But even in the Old Testament says, do not revenge. God says, leave revenge to me. Why are they revenging?
If I continue pacing my arguments the same, I would answer that question. Why did God create Samson? Samson was created and born to fight the Philistines.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Ayak, what do you have to say?
No, the thing is this: I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, by the way, but I get so impatient with people using religion to avoid reasoning. The fact that we have a Bible does not mean that we suspend reason. Let me tell you, the Jewish people are not Christian. They don't practice Christianity. So you are supporting people who don't even recognize you. Actually, when Christians go to Jerusalem for pilgrimage, the Jews don't want them there. They call them idol worshippers. So it's ironical for you as a Christian to think that you are supporting people who don't even recognize you. Number 2, if Jesus were to come to Israel right now, because what Christianity is said to have come out of Jesus. Now let's assume Jesus came today when Israel is sending missiles into Gaza. What do you think will Jesus say? What will, if the same way the Pharisees used to approach Jesus and ask him, teacher, what they used to challenge him. If Jesus went to Jerusalem right now and you challenge him to pass a judgment, Muko, as a Christian, what do you think Jesus, the Messiah, will say?
Okay. No, then don't answer. Let's hear from Dr. Nyachai first.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting heated argument there, and I can see the passion and the between the two of them.
Ben, you are muted. You normally mute.
So he's muted.
Dr. Nyachai is fast.
Yeah, so I was saying that I can see the passion between my brother Ben and brother Ayako there, Ayaka. And true enough, we need to step back and stay away from. I agree with my brother there, Ayaka, that Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, or whatever religion it is, if you go follow through those understandings and the teachings of those, they all point to the same God. The same God. So again, if we really sit back and look at that and agree that there's one single God that we all worship, regardless of the platform you're using to worship that God, then you will agree about simple basic things. One, everybody has a right to life. Everybody has a right to defend themselves when attacked. And everybody has a right to be listened to. So those are the only three basic things that I will expect, whether you're a Christian, I'm a Christian, whether you are a Judea or a Muslim. So they all worship. And I have read the Quran. In fact, it's very similar to the Bible, except only on a few things that we even the Bible itself, the Christians, in fact, they have different Bibles. If you come down to Christians, so we be fighting so hard because of the book that we all are supposed to be worshiping the same God? Absolutely not. So in my opinion, then, given that understanding, it's important that these children of God, the same God, should sit back and come to the reasoning table.
Okay. Ben, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I am not saying that we have to base all these things on the Bible, but the Bible has a reason to agree with what they are doing. And again, I want to complete that when the Israelites completed the mission that God wanted them to do, Christians are all Israelites according to the spiritual understanding. My brother, I'm not defending Israel, but I'm saying that the fact that God created, which will hand the hand of the world, that's when we will be able to understand this enmity. And they choose themselves because they are strong and they have been given this power. They should also be considerate. Remember, Obama, when he was giving the first speech there, he said, "Can you wear the shoe of a Palestinian? And you look like them." So I agree, my brothers. As much as we want to do all this, some of the things are prophetic, but we want to pray, as Ondim has said. Those are brothers and sisters. Let us agree so that we can be able to create peace for everybody.
Dr. Mugo, I want to ask you a question. Did you say that all Christians are Israelites?
No, Cosmas, you asked me a question. If you have a question.
Is that correct? Did you say that all Christians, by virtue of being a Christian, am I therefore an Israelite because I'm a Catholic?
Yeah, that's what the Bible says. If you are, because Abraham is the father of all nations.
Which part of the Bible says that? Which Bible says that?
That's interpretation. If you are a Christian, you will understand. You are the sons and the daughters of God in Abraham, because Abraham is the father of all nations, means the Christians.
So you therefore agree everybody is the son and daughter of God?
Yeah, if you are a Christian, yes. I agree.
So
because
anybody who is not a Christian is not a son or daughter of God.
Okay.
No.
Not go much
those are detailed. Those are detailed for the Bible study.
I think we are digressing here.
Yeah.
The basic point I'm asking is U.S. justified to support Israel unilaterally? You see what even President Biden said. He wants support for Israel. They want to support financially and other things so that they can fight Hamas. And we call ourselves a country of morals, a country which wants to put. Is it justified to do that? Cosmas.
The USA is a country, they have their own interest. I think every country has a right to pursue their own interest, but when their interests collide with the interests of humanity, then we can pass judgment that they are wrong. In this aspect, as a taxpayer in the US, I think it's wrong to use my taxes to pay for a war that is killing innocent people in Israel. The US can support Israel however they want. If the support is causing the death and destruction of a community, then I'm not in support of that.
Okay. Dr. Limu, what's your take on that?
Yeah, if you go back to the statement that President Biden made yesterday or the other day upon his return from Middle East, he was very categorical and very clear that Israel, as they respond in defending themselves, they should not do the same mistake that the United States did in the year 2001 when they were attacked on September 11th. He acknowledged that the US went in with rage. They went in angry. They went in and they did something that they are not very proud about. So he gave them a synopsis and an example of what the US did that they shouldn't be doing. And agreed with my brother Ayaka there that every nation has a right to pursue their own interests. But when those interests, like President Biden mentioned yesterday, they should be pursued given what we call United Nations war of engagement. So he's well aware that there is, in a war like this, there's likely to be mistakes, there's likely to be collateral damage, but you cannot intentionally go in there killing innocent people, just like Hamas did. You cannot justify two wrongs. So yes, I do agree with the statement that President Biden made yesterday.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ben, do you think it's justified?
Can I also add?
Yeah, go ahead.
The America, I think they are justified according to the covenant or the treaty they are already signed. The argument you have to stand by. NATO, you know what NATO does. You attack one, they are all attacked. I think the treaty makes the US support.
But Israel is not a part of NATO.
No. I give an example.
Okay. So attack of Israel, how does it concern US? We have lost you. Ben, your voice sometimes goes back.
I cannot hear him. And that's a good question. If you want me to also respond as he gets back to the hair.
Yeah.
How does the US, the United States? For many years, the United States is known as the watchdog, the world watchdog. That's number one. Number two, outside of Israel, there are more Israelites or the Jews in the United States than anywhere else in the world. So you can say that a large chunk of the Jews are in the United States, and they know how to lobby. I want you to remember back to 2007, when Kenya had an issue of post-election violence. Those of us who were active, we went back to lobby out here in our local Congress in St. Paul and even in Washington to have the United States intervene. So again, that tells you why the United States, which is really having people from all over the world, it has to intervene because we are the people. When we had issues in Kenya, they came in to intervene. So is it the same? Actually, there are around 7 million Jewish people in the United States. And mind you, they are not poor people. They have the money. They know how to lobby.
Okay.
Here's
Now,
my. Can I add
solution to the conflict?
Can I add something before you go to the solution?
Sure, you can go ahead.
I think the reason the US is involved, for me, is not because there is more Jews in the US than they are in Israel. There are more. The number of Africans in the US is 10 times more than the number of Jews, but we have not seen the US intervene in Africa the way it's intervening in Israel. The Middle East is a conglomeration of dictatorships, and Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. And the US sees Israel as a military outpost of the US to watch things in the that's why the US spends billions every year supporting the Israeli army. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't think it's because we have more Jews here. It's because Israel kind of value-wise shares values with the US. It's a democratic country, and the US sees it as the only promise to democratize the Middle East. And that's why you see a very huge contingent of military in the Red Sea, in the Mediterranean. But we have not seen the same response in Ukraine or anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Let me say this. You can't win the presidency in the United States of America if you don't support Israel. I don't know why. I'm still looking for why, but there is a bond between America and Israel. Israel must be protected by the United States of America.
Either you are lying or you don't know, but Barack Obama did not support the occupation of Palestinian land.
He did. He did. He almost fall out, and he came back. He said he will support the Israel.
Behind the curtains, and publicly, he lectured them.
Yes, but he protected them.
And that is why, Chairman, if you allow me, and that's why, for the first time, we saw the Prime Minister of Israel come to the U.S. Congress to embarrass the U.S. President because Netanyahu had fallen out with Barack Obama.
Yeah, but he supported them.
Okay. We are coming to the end. What is the solution of the Israel-Palestinian conflict? Ben?
I will preach to them. They have to come back to the Bible and appreciate what God did so that Jesus can come back. But peace is very important. God created everybody equally. We are all sons and the daughters of the King, who is God. But we are made sisters and brothers of Jesus Christ if you accept him as a savior. So the only thing I can say is that peace, peace, peace.
How do we achieve that peace? Dr. Ndulu.
Be a preacher now, he can be, and he's doing it very well. So like I said, this is a very difficult conflict. There have been attempts to have a two-state Jewish and Palestinians living side by side. It's proving to be very difficult. There's not going to be one simple solution. The solution is they have to acknowledge each other and live as brothers and sisters. I think, again, the two-state solution is the only possible solution that we'll have. Is that doable? It's going to take a lot of sweat and blood, as we can see, because each one of them has really a right to live and survive, and they all are claiming the same land. So it's important that they have to find a solution and stay together as brothers and sisters.
Okay, Cosmas, what is the solution?
I am going to be a little sarcastic, but my sarcasm is very serious. I suggest three solutions. Number one is a one-state solution, where the Jews and the Palestinians live by side in peace, one president, one government, like they did before 1947. The next one is the UN solution, the two-state solution, where the Palestinians have a right to self-determination. They have their own government, and the Jewish have their own government, and Israel and Jerusalem kind of becomes an international city that is managed neither by the Jews or the Palestinians. That's where we are right now, and the Jews are not accepting it, and that's why we are fighting. The third one, and this is the most sarcastic one, the Jews can continue cleansing the Palestinians, kill all of them, and make it a purely Jewish state. But I have to add a rider. The truth will always supersede any evil. Imperialists tried in South Africa, apartheid, it didn't succeed. It will never succeed anywhere. The world opinion is turning. We have seen Israel and its allies for what they are. Right now, those who support Israel are more, but those who have started to see the truth are increasing in numbers. And once we become more, the Jews will go back to their land and they will vacate Palestinian land. And maybe then we shall have peace.
Okay. I think it has been interesting, and unless somebody has a comment, but one of the things one of the writers, and I think he's a Palestinian, asked this question, that is it because we are children of a lesser God? And they say that are Palestinians. So all of peace and the concept, gentlemen, the way you are divided here, it boils down to the ego and the things which we have been imparted among the Jews and the history which has been imparted among the Palestinians. For us to get this solution, we have to put all of these, our biases away, even our religious heritage, and we face the world we are living here, which is so complex that the only thing, you cannot even practice your religion when you are at war. So for us to come to that, the Israel and the Palestinian have been living as neighbors, and I think they can solve that problem without us. That would be the easiest solution. We may not even understand. And gentlemen, I want to ask you, I was imagining this. Supposing people come to your country and they move you all, let's say, all the people living in a country like Kenya, they occupy all of your land, and then they box you to Nyanza only. That all the 50 million Kenyans are boxed into the province of Nyanza, where the rest are occupied. What would you think? It's a question to ponder. I mean, you knew you had a land somewhere. Maybe you were having a farm, a tea farm. Now you don't own it. And you are only put a land where nothing is happening. Don't you think you can carry also arm? That is the question Obama asked, that you put yourself on the shoes of a Palestinian. I'm not saying in support, but really that conflict needs more complex. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. I hope we will continue to pray for the war to end in Palestine.
This was not a very easy topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.